For more than a century, decisions based on race shaped Sacramento's neighborhoods and how they look today, from where people were allowed to move to where schools and parks were built.
We need a lot in our neighborhood.
Perry lives in South Sacramento by Fruit Ridge Road and Franklin Boulevard.
When you go to other areas, they have all this great range of stores, but over here you don't have that much.
Perry is taking a free digital literacy class a block from where she lives at La Familia Counseling Center. The organization offers free programs and outreach services.
People want the opportunity to work, they want the opportunity to learn, they want the opportunity to get into housing, to better their families, to better their situation.
This neighborhood has seen the impacts of disinvestment. In 2013, Sacramento City Unified School District made the decision to close 7 schools due to low enrollment.
A lot of these schools that are being closed, they're multi-ethnic. It's called the white escape.
A majority of them were in the South Sacramento region. La Familia Counseling Center is located at what used to be Maple Elementary.
When the school closed, we did a survey of the community, and the kids were, sent to like 16 different schools. Because they were bused, they couldn't participate in the after-school enrichment programs. They couldn't join clubs.
The impact of closing schools is more than just busing students around. It's a neighborhood that loses money.
School funding is basically based upon the students and where the student goes. So if you close the schools in the poorest of neighborhoods and you open up schools in the richest of neighborhoods, that money goes to those neighborhoods and those neighborhoods thrive.
This neighborhood is one of many in Sacramento that started without race covenants. Jesus Hernandez has dedicated most of his life researching how it happened and why. From 1900 to 1950, race covenants were written into deeds that prevented people of color from purchasing or living in the home. It was justified as a way to protect property values and became a way to create distinction and distance from what was perceived as less desirable residents, people of color. Neighborhoods with race covenants saw all the benefits of parks, schools, and public transportation, while neighborhoods without race covenants got left behind.
Public transportation doesn't come all the way through here, so people have to walk a great distance on a street that's not shaded. So just your basic infrastructure is missing.
According to Hernandez's research, the neighborhoods without race covenants, which are mostly the north and south parts of the city, have a higher unemployment rate, more cases of COVID-19, and have more health issues like asthma and cardiovascular disease. They are also less likely to be homeowners compared to neighborhoods to the east and west that had race covenants. An organization trying to change that is Habitat for Humanity. They're helping people become homeowners through volunteering and finance.
The north and south parts of the city are traditionally the most underserved regions of our area.
Habitat for Humanity turns empty lots into communities like this one in South Sacramento.
Well, when we build in the area, we're creating home ownership opportunities, and that directly contributes to the county tax roll. And so it creates investment opportunities into schools, into roadways, into parks that are generated through home ownership taxes.
Organizations like Habitat for Humanity and La Familia Counseling Center are trying to fill the void of nearly a century of disinvestment.
And when you take away the factors that help you create income, or you racialize them and say they are not going to be in these poor neighborhoods, then that's where you see this disparity happening. And this is really important, because if you don't have income, you can't buy a house, you can't send your kids to college, you don't earn that equity.
So where does this leave us today? The city of Sacramento is aware of all of this data and more that's highlighted in a report it requested. It's part of Senate Bill 1000 that requires cities and counties to include environmental policies to help disadvantaged neighborhoods. Hernandez conducted the report.
The intent of the law is good. How we actually implement the law is different. And whether cities actually have the capacity to do what's necessary to really roll out legislation fairly.
This report is supposed to help the city finalize their 2040 general plan. The plan is a guide for the future. Some of their top focuses include ways to reduce car use, revitalize commercial areas, and even plant more trees. The process has been years in the making, and they will decide on the final plan this spring.
These are things that you have in nicer areas, right? You have community centers, you have places where people can go and gather and meet other people, but there really is no place.
Meanwhile, neighborhoods can't wait. Undoing nearly a century of racial discrimination is going to take more than a quick fix.
The problem is that it's so closely tied to race. It's tied at the hip with race. And so nobody knows how to really articulate the problems of race today. We bring it back to the individual. And when we bring it back to the individual, we don't look at the structure of inequality. And that is our biggest problem right now.